Welcome to this Urgent Explainer. Today, we are breaking down a really critical public health alert about a fast-moving measles outbreak happening right now in southwestern Wisconsin. Whether you actually live in the area, maybe you're traveling through it, or you're just keeping tabs on how these localized outbreaks spread, you need to hear this. The situation is escalating pretty quickly, and health officials have put out some very specific guidelines that we all need to have on our radar. All right, let's jump straight into it with the most important number right now, 39. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services is currently reporting a total of 39 measles cases in the region. And if we break that down, we're looking at 36 fully confirmed cases and 3 probable ones. Now, the absolute most crucial thing to understand here is that this number means the outbreak is actively, rapidly growing. In fact, officials released this update specifically because 2 new cases had just popped up, which really tells us that this chain of transmission is still very much active and moving right through the community. Section 1. The Wisconsin measles outbreak. So here is the really tricky puzzle officials are trying to solve right now. The newest cases popping up in Grant County are directly linked to cases we saw just last week in Lafayette and Iowa counties. But look at this second column. This is the wild part. Absolutely 0 public exposure locations have been identified. None. Health officials literally cannot point to a single grocery store, school, or community center and say, hey, this is where the virus spread. Because they don't have those known public exposure sites, there's just this massive, frantic, behind-the-scenes effort going on. Health officials across all 3 of those counties are scrambling to do direct contact tracing, meaning they're trying to personally track down and notify anyone who might have crossed paths with the virus. So you can't just check a handy list of locations online to see if you're at risk. This thing is basically moving invisibly right now. Since the where is completely unknown, we move to Section 2, recognizing the symptoms. Let's map out exactly how this virus progresses. It starts at day 0, right? The moment of exposure. But then there is a massive gap. Symptoms usually take anywhere from 10 to 21 days to even show up. That's up to a 3-week incubation period where someone might feel totally fine, completely unaware they're actually infected. And it's not until 3 to 5 days after those initial symptoms hit that the famous red rash actually shows up. Honestly, this crazy delayed timeline is exactly why outbreaks like this can grow so silently. So before that rash even appears, you really need to be on the lookout for these early warning signs. And I'll be honest, at first glance, they look a lot like a severe cold or the flu. You know, runny nose, absolute exhaustion, a nasty cough. But there are a couple of huge exceptions. You're watching for red, watery eyes that look like pink eye, and, this is the big one, a dangerously high fever that can spike past 104 degrees Fahrenheit. If you have a super high fever paired with pink eye, yeah, that's a massive red flag. Then, about 3 to 5 days after the fever and the cough kick in, you get the visual hallmark of measles. But this isn't just a random rash. It has a very distinct, predictable pattern. It's a red rash with raised bumps, and it literally travels. It starts right up at your hairline and then physically works its way down your body, spreading to your arms and eventually all the way down to your legs. Section 3, the action plan. Okay, so what if you actually develop these symptoms? Even if you have no idea if you've been exposed, the health department has 2 highly specific, urgent steps for you. Step 1, stay home immediately. Do not wait around to see if you feel better tomorrow. Just isolate. And step 2, which I know goes against every instinct we have when we're sick, you must call your doctor's office or clinic before you physically go in. Showing up unannounced is literally the last thing health officials want you to do. And to be completely 100% clear on what step 1, staying home, actually means, they've laid out a strict list of restricted activities. You cannot go to work, no school, cancel all social gatherings. You absolutely cannot go shopping, and do not even think about getting on public transportation. Going to any of these spaces basically risks sparking a massive transmission event. And circling back to step 2, why is it so incredibly important that you call ahead before seeing a doctor? Well, this quote right from the health department hits the nail on the head. So they can take precautions to ensure other patients are not exposed to the virus. Think about it. Waiting rooms are packed with vulnerable people. If you walk in with a highly contagious active measles infection, you're putting everyone in that building at risk. Calling ahead gives the clinic time to set up a safe, isolated entry protocol for you, keeping the rest of the community safe. Which brings us to Section 4, prevention and protection. So here's the good news in all of this. Measles is entirely preventable. And the way we do that is through the MMR vaccine. That's the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. The Department of Health Services highlights this as the proven, safe method to stop both you from getting the virus and to stop it from spreading like wildfire through the community. So, keeping all of these critical warnings in mind, that silent 3-week incubation period, just how contagious these symptoms are, and the frankly scary reality that officials are currently chasing a virus without a single known public exposure site, I want to leave you with one vital question. It's the absolute most important takeaway from this whole explainer. With this outbreak actively growing and literally no known exposure locations to avoid, are you protected by the MMR vaccine? Something really important to think about. Thanks for hanging out with me to unpack this explainer, and definitely stay safe out there.